Paul and Peggy Anderson have been investors at Camp Seymour for decades.
Their main drive was to give back to the community. That the Y was great for them as people and as kids and as their kids, that they wanted to pave the way for others.
Paul Anderson, over the years, just became to love this guy as far as a brother, as a friend. I admire him so much because of his conviction of his faith, his family, particularly his community.
He's inspired me because he is so passionate about his own story. And that story goes back to when he was 8 years old and his father died, and friends and family directed him to the YMCA. And as an 8-year-old kid who was devastated by his father's death, he found friends and community and people who cared and helped raise him. And that story carries over 70 plus years later, and he's still passionate about that and wants to give back to the Y.
Well, I met Paul Anderson many years ago, and one day Paul came down and he said, "Jerry, would you be my co-chairman to build a new YMCA in Puyallup?" And I told Paul, I said, I don't know if I would do that or not. I don't know anything about the YMCA. So he said, well, let me tell you the YMCA story. The more I heard about the Y story, as far as what it does for kids, what it does for families, what it does for individuals, I started getting passionate about the Y.
So here we are in the chapel of the Wildwood at camp, and Paul and Peggy's recent investment was to restore the chapel after a large windstorm in 2006. We had several large trees fall right into the chapel area here, pretty much destroying anything that was left and leaving us with a big mess. And we kind of poked around a little bit. We were climbing over fallen trees and logs, and at one point Paul just kind of took pause and said, I think this is something that Peggy and I would like to help with. So we were thrilled. We were really thrilled. Paul and Peggy also understood the need for a new dining hall at camp, and they were very supportive of my efforts and the advisory council's efforts to raise the funds needed to replace the old dining hall with a new fully functioning dining hall that was large enough to serve our future capacity. It's because of their dedication, because of their love of camp and their support of all children that the YMCA serves, that we proudly are honoring Paul and Peggy as our Philanthropists of the Year.
I got to know them over the years. Their values are so strong, and it's parallel to what we do in our work. So I just want to say thank you, Paul and Peggy, for your years of commitment to the Y and your passion for kids and other families in our community. So thank you very much.
Paul and Peggy, thank you for all you've been to this great community called Pierce County. Thank you for all you've been to me personally and my family, my wife and I. And just thank you for who you are, the model that you set out there every single day of your life to be who you both are. Thank you.
Paul and Peggy, I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your dedication to the Y. And of course, I very much appreciate your support of YMCA Camp Seymour over the years.